Going up Baguio, there's a couple of, I think there were at least 3 very tough turns. And I did not hesitate to say, oh, abangan niyo ako, because the worst thing is to stop in the middle of that. And this goes for life, ha? You know, you plan, and suddenly, and you're just gonna fall. And the thing is, if it's this way, you're gonna go backwards. And you don't want that to happen. So you might as well ask for a little help, right? Right? It applies in life. You might as well ask for a little help to push you along the way than for you to fall, get hurt, and worse.
Hi, this is Pia Cayetano. Welcome to my podcast, My Daily Race.
I'm so excited for this episode. Our topic today is not about politics. It's still about me and my personal journey, but how I manage to keep doing the things I love to do despite being in politics. I've been a senator for 3 terms, and so I filed for my candidacy as senator for the 4th term. And I rode a bike with over 100 other bikers from different parts of the Philippines or Manila. They accompanied me as they had done in my past campaigns. So this is very personal to me because I ride a bike for many reasons. I learned to ride a bike when I was 6 years old, like maybe many people. I'm privileged to have been brought up in a family where sports was always a part of our life. So I learned to bike when I was 6. I mean, a 2-wheeler bike. And then years later, I got another bike when I was in high school. And then not until I was in my late 30s, just before I ran for the first time, I got a road bike because I started doing duathlons, which eventually led me to doing triathlons. So in my first campaign in 2004, I wanted to ride my bike around the country, but political advisors, experts were telling me that let's not do the bike ride. You know, people won't understand why you're riding a bike. And I'm like, well, I'd rather ride a bike than be in a motorcade. I'd rather be on a bike for 4 hours than be in a car for 4 hours. And so eventually I convinced them to let me bike. And we actually shot part of my one and only campaign commercial back in 2004 with me riding a bike. So it's very personal to me because it's part of who I am. It's part of my lifestyle, being on a bike. But it's also given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people from all walks of life. So I have friends from Visayas and Mindanao who are lifelong friends, like personal friends who I will travel to see. It started with biking together, running together, and now we're still friends. Some of them still bike, some of them don't. What do I do now? I'm a passionate paddle player. I'm a competitive paddle player. I have the honor of going out of the country and playing against other nationalities in paddle. But I still run short runs, not as long as I used to. And I bike when I'm out of town. I don't bike on a daily basis as part of my workout routine because I do strength training and I play paddle and then I do Pilates. So I don't have to bike anymore as part of a cardio workout, but I do love to bike. So when I'm out of town, I bike. I plan my campaign to include bike rides. I really genuinely enjoy seeing different parts of the country through the eyes of a biker. If I'm in a car kasi, the reality is I'm usually tired because I'm really the kind of person who has one activity after the next. So since I don't have to drive, I will fall asleep in the car. And if you make me drive, baka delikado because I might fall asleep. But on a bike, I can't. I have to be alert because I'm on 2 wheels. So I've biked a lot and I've biked Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And I look forward to doing more of it again during the campaign because it will give me again an opportunity to meet other people. Normally, when we bike, we usually bike for a couple of hours. So the person I'm talking to is going to be somebody I'll get to know in some one way or another. So like I said, I've had really amazing experiences biking all over the country. I can name a few. All of them are memorable in some way, but Bike for Hope. So that's the name of my advocacy, Bike for Hope. It was the first bike ride I did in memory of our father, the late Senator Rene Cayetano, in 2003, before I became a senator. So Bike for Hope was a bike ride up Baguio. So if you've ever been on the roads to Baguio, it's not easy. And I had to train for it. I had to train in the hills of Tagaytay, like Batangas to Tagaytay, repeated intervals to get used to the steepness of the climb up to Baguio. And I'm the kind of person who prepares. So in school, I was never a crammer. Even now, as a legislator, I like to study my work. I like to prepare. I like to review. So I really trained for that Bike for Hope ride. The goal is hindi ako tumirek going up. You should never be ashamed to ask for help. So some of the very strong bikers, it's very common for them to give you a little push. So they can put their hand behind you and give you that little push. And the logo of Bike for Hope is actually two bikers with one giving a push. And that's inspired by my brother Lino, who came from a shoot, directorial shoot, and he didn't have enough sleep. So sabi ng mga biker friends namin, don't worry, we'll push you up along the way. So that's inspired by that. But like I said, there's no shame in asking for help. We all need help along the way. So going up Baguio, there's a couple of, I think there were at least 3 very tough turns. And I did not hesitate to say, oh, abangan niyo ako, because the worst thing is to stop in the middle of that. And this goes for life, huh? You plan, and suddenly, and you're just going to fall. And the thing is, if it's this way, you're going to go backwards. And you don't want that to happen. So you might as well ask for a little help, right? Right? It applies in life. You might as well ask for a little help to push you along the way than for you to fall, get hurt, and worse, cascade all the way down and mahulog ka pa sa bangin if you were in Baguio. So that's my experience. I made it to the top. I'm very proud to say. But I remember distinctly one of our friends who was a very experienced biker really planned the stop. So that's part of planning any project, whether it's a school project or work project, you plan everything. So even the stops, kung saan kami magpapahinga, were planned along the way. Because there's only so much, hindi naman ako a professional athlete, I'm not a professional cyclist. So there's only so much my training can also take me. So we had to plan those quick stops so that your legs are fresh and then you go on again. So that was Baguio. There's this famous author. He has a book on memory building. Like part of our joy, part of finding happiness and joy is also recreating those happy moments in our lives. And so when I'm now thinking of the bike rides I had, I'm actually thinking of the photos I have of those bike rides, because this happened over the span of the last 20 years. So a bike ride is a bike ride. Part of my brain jumble in my mind. But when I think of the photos I have, some of them are very memorable. I have beautiful memories of biking during the pandemic. Terrible time when the onset of the pandemic, because it disrupted many lives. But what it did for many of us, it gave us the opportunity to reconnect with family, to spend more family time because we were stuck at home. And in my case, it also gave me biking time with my entire family, with my kids. So I have very fond memories of biking in Clark, which is where we would go, and Zambales. But going back to Bike for Hope, those were organized, huge bike rides. And I had rides. Another memorable one was Legazpi City to Naga. So this spanned, most of the time we try to target 100 kilometers. So we pick bikers up along the way, but basically we start in one side and then we go all the way to the end. This one we started in Camsur and then ended up in Legazpi. And then I've done Bike for Hope in Cebu, towards Consolacion, Liloan, to Danao. We've done that, and I've biked more or less from Dumanhog, or even one time I think from Karkar down to Santander. It's a beautiful ride also. If you haven't done it, it's so beautiful, southern Cebu. And then we took a ferry to cross. I've done it a couple of times to cross to Dumaguete. And sometimes we would just eat in Dumaguete. There's an amazing, well-known cafe there called Sans Rival. And then we would take the ferry back to Cebu. Or sometimes I would stay overnight in Cebu. I've also biked in Bacolod. Yeah, and so many other beautiful places. So that's my inspiration for promoting and then eventually writing out a bill that has passed in the Senate already on bikeable and walkable cities. Because the idea really is there's a lot of places you can go for work, for personal reasons, for to, as a traveler, that you can go on foot or on bike. But it's our job in government to make these roads bikeable and safe for walking. So that's one of my bills that hopefully promotes a healthier Philippines. It's called the Walkable and Bikeable Communities Act. Indoor cycling is a big thing now. So I actually shifted to a lot of indoor cycling. I actually bike in Saddle Row, and it's fun. There's music. There's instructors that keep it exciting. And I did that for many years. Like I said, I play paddle a lot now, but that was my routine for many years, and I actually used it as part of my training. And then on weekends, I would do my extra longer bike rides. Interestingly, one Christmas or birthday, my brother Alan gifted me with I don't know what you call it. It's like an indoor bike, but there's a table so you can be cycling while you're working. And it was a little bit too much for me because I work out regularly, so I didn't really feel the need to be cycling while working. So I brought it to my paddle club and it's there for everybody to enjoy. And I'm so happy when I see people on it. Sometimes they're on their laptop, sometimes they're watching a game using it. So there's a lot of alternatives you can find now to still get in that little workout or actually get in cycling time. I highly recommend it as an intro motor skill activity for young kids. You can actually buy these bikes that don't have pedals for little kids. So what it is it's low, and then the kids just use their feet, and then when they're already running, they just put their feet up, and then they can easily transition to two wheelers because they already know how to balance. So that's easily you can easily find that now. That's my Pia and biking story. I'm so blessed that when I look back, that my mom and dad gave me a bike when I was 6 years old. I'm not a collector of things the way there are guys who love to collect cars or bikes. I'm a really functional person when it comes to the purchases I make. But I think enough time has passed. I think the current bikes I'm using are more than 10 years old. So I might gift myself with a bike soon. So when I do, that will be another episode. Surprise. Personally, for me, I have two kinds of bike. One is a road bike or a tri bike, which I really use for competitions and on the road. Kaya nga road bike. Ito po yung manipis yung gulong na they also call it a racer. A tri bike is a little bit different. Yung setup lang is for triathlon. And then there's the mountain bike, which has a thicker wheel. And I use it when I'm on the trails. So yung trails, sa loob ng forest, when I'm on dirt roads, when you're on what they call fire roads, yung parang not so lubak-lubak, but it's not cemented. You're better off on a mountain bike. And then recently nauso yung gravel bike, which is like a hybrid bike. Like it's meant to be able to take you on rough roads, but the thickness of the tire usually is not as thin as a road bike tire, but not as thick as a mountain bike tire. I've never had one of those. So I'm trying to decide which kind of bike will suit my needs most. I'm leaning towards the mountain bike. So we'll see. You will see. So on that note, I hope you enjoyed this episode on biking. If you're a biker, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're not a biker, I hope you consider biking because it's really fun. Till our next episode where we will talk about more things on fitness always. I always find a way to squeeze that in. Somehow always day to life coping strategies. But always with the intention of giving you tools to make life better on a day-to-day basis. God bless you all. Thank you. I'll see you next episode.